Hey there, internet friends. Trevor Starkey here with another episode of Trevor Trove Gaming. Today I'm going to talk about 10 games that I still want to play before the year is done. We're coming up on end of the year, game of the year kind of conversations and stuff, and there are definitely a handful of games that I've missed over the course of the last 11 months that I just haven't had a chance to come back to yet. But now that we're here in late November and looking ahead, there's not really anything coming out the rest of the year that I need to go pick up, that I'm interested in really picking up. I'm going to use this opportunity to try and catch up on the handful of games that I've missed and wanted to get back to. So, in no particular order here, 10 games that I'm looking forward to trying to finish before the year is up. Number 1, an indie game called Flint Hook. This is something that my friend Alex O'Neill over at Irrational Passions has been selling and singing its praises since, I think, PAX East last year, if I recall correctly. It came out in, I think, April of this year, and I've got it. I picked it up based on Alex's recommendations and him saying how much he loves it. I picked it up actually as a limited run games release, so I've got like the physical copy of the game as well, and I just haven't had a chance to really dive into it. It just kind of sits there right by my TV, just kind of like every now and then I'm like, oh yeah, I need to play that, and so I'm gonna try and play it before the year is up. Game number 2, Nier Automata, or Nier Automata, I don't quite know. This one, everybody, when it came out, everybody started going crazy about it and singing its praises and going just batshit nuts about it. But nobody was really pointing out like why I should play it, and I wasn't reading any reviews on it or anything. I was just kind of going off of what everybody was saying on Twitter, and everybody was just saying you need to play this game, but never any kind of follow-up. And it wasn't until actually I think waiting in line to get our passes for the Bethesda E3 press conference that my friend Dustin Furman kind of said, here's why you should play it, and he kind of really stressed the story and the moral kind of conversations that it evokes. And so I was like, okay, that does sound interesting. So I picked it up at some point, haven't started it yet, but it is in my possession as well to pick up and play. Number 3 is one of the handful of games that I'm already kind of in the process of playing through, and it's not even like a full-fledged game. It is the expansion for Horizon Zero Dawn, The Frozen Wilds. I have loved jumping back into that game in the last week or so, and getting kind of to replay through that. It's certainly one of my favorite games of the year, so hopping back into it and getting this new story from Aloy is certainly a delight, and so I just want to go through and finish that up. Number 4 is one I didn't think I'd see on this list, and that is Assassin's Creed Origins. Assassin's Creed and I have a very mostly hate relationship. I picked up Black Flag when I got my PS4 back, around launch, and everybody was like, this is a great Assassin's Creed game. I tried Assassin's Creed in the past, and I hadn't been a fan of it, but I played Black Flag and really enjoyed Black Flag. And so I went back and played through Assassin's Creed 1, played through all of the Ezio collection, all the Ezio trilogy there, and I started to play Assassin's Creed 3, but just kind of fell off of it by the time Unity came out, and then I played Unity, and I hated Unity so much, and I hated a lot of the other Assassin's Creed stuff as well. And so Unity I basically rage beat just so I could say that I did it, and then it was like somewhere on my least favorite games of that year, most disappointing games or something like that. And I had basically said, this, I have a distaste for Black Flag now because it tricked me into thinking I liked Assassin's Creed. And I, off of the frustration of Unity, skipped Syndicate, had no interest in diving into that, and for most of this year I've had no interest in diving into Origins, but a handful of people that I admire and trust their taste have sold me on it, as well as Yusuf Magid had a great thread talking about why it was a special game to him, and it really helped sell me on this game. So I've picked it up, haven't started playing it yet, but it is also on my list of things to play before the year is up. Number 5, another game that I'm just a little bit into so far, a game called Battle Chef Brigade. Came out to PC and Nintendo Switch just yesterday. I played this a little bit at PAX West this year. It's an Adult Swim's game. It is basically like anime cooking show kind of game with a bit of like hack and slash adventure-y type of stuff in there. Basically, you hack and slash enemies to get ingredients for your meals, and then you take those meals into the kitchen and cook them via a match 3 game kind of situation. So that's basically the gameplay of it, and it's all told in this grandiose anime style, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a charming little game that I played at PAX West, and I was like, oh, I want to play that a little bit more when it comes out, and so I am playing through that on my Switch at the moment. Game number 6, Cuphead. I've beaten the first handful of bosses in that game. I don't think I made it past the first island, so I'm still very early in that game, but it is something I want to get back to before year is up. It's definitely something I needed to take a break from because I wasn't, enjoying the endless crush of getting beaten, but I think I'm in a bit more better headspace for it now, so I think that's something I can dive back into. I don't know if I'll finish it by year's end, but I definitely want to get a better feel for it for kind of end of the year, game of the year conversations and stuff. Game number 7, one I've already played, admittedly. So this is probably like the lowest priority on this list, if I'm being honest with myself, but it is Wolfenstein 2, and I've played through it, I've beaten the game, but I was definitely checked out for a lot of it, and I wasn't paying attention to the story. There were certainly most of the story, like I followed the story along, but the nuances and the subtleties of the story, I just was glazed over. I was focused on other things. I had my attentions elsewhere. So I want to go back, play this game, give it its due. And I think part of that came from just the difficulty level of that game. I just got frustrated, with its difficulty curve. So by the time I would get to cutscenes, I would just check out because it was such a haul to get there. So I think this time I will just kind of say, I don't care, I'm going to go through baby mode and play it and really take in the story of it, so I can catch the things that I missed the first time around. Number 8 is another recommendation from my friends over at Irrational Passions, specifically I think Tony Horvath and Brian Nabushin-Jackson. In their Game of the Year conversations last year, they were really singing the praises of a game called Valhalla, which was on Steam, and at the time I was like, oh, well, it's supposed to come to Vita at some point, so I'll just wait and play it on Vita, get trophies and all that stuff. I don't play on my computer all that much, so no point in really loading this up if it's going to come to something I can play anyway. And so it finally came out last week, and so that is something I've been looking forward to playing kind of for all year. It won't show up on my list of like best games of 2017, but there's a chance that it would be in consideration for my best games that came out in another year that I played in 2017 list, which I started doing last year, which was, just a fun little list to do of games that I finally got around to, or games that I revisited for the year. So Valhalla is certainly on my must-play for the purposes of that list in particular. Number 9, Emily is Away 2. I've picked it up, I purchased it, I just never sat down and actually went through and played that little AIM gem. I played a little bit of it at PAX East this year. Kyle Seeley, I believe, is the director of that, the creator of the game. Met with him, chatted with him a little bit. He's a super cool guy, and so yeah, I've been wanting to get back to this game. Never more so than after at Kind of Funny Live 3, Logan Wilkinson and I had a great conversation about it, and he was just going on and on about how much he loved it. So this is definitely something that I want to sit down and just kind of crank out in an evening and enjoy all that nostalgia of AOL Instant Messenger. Lastly, number 10, I want to finish up Middle-earth: Shadow of War. I've played through a chunk of that game, and I've gone through and done a whole bunch of stuff with the Nemesis system and taken over some fortresses and stuff like that, but I want to go through and finish up the story and just do some general cleanup on that game. So that is what rounds out my list. So those are 10 games I'm trying to squeeze in before year end. Let me know what you're playing, what you're trying to get to before the year is up in the next month plus in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Trevor Starkey from TrevorTrove.com. You can follow me at SnarkyStarkey on Twitter. And until next time, from here at the Trove, treasure your friends.